I don't think he's educated about enslavement of my ancestors. Even if they did have some skills, they were still enslaved.
Were there beneficial aspects to slavery?
That's not what the curriculum says.
What do you think?
What the it's not. And the curriculum is very clear. You have, I think it's like 200 plus pages of all kinds of stuff that you can't read that. Have you read it?
So what's your opinion?
Have you read it?
I'm asking your opinion.
But you haven't read it, so I'm just making that clear.
This video is brought to you by TatumStore.com. TatumStore.com. Link is in the description section. Get the discount code right here presented underneath me. Like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell so you get notification. Anytime I go live, make a video, y'all already know what to do. Let's get into this. Ladies and gentlemen, ladies, welcome back to the Austin Tatum Show. Now I'm done with my Andrew Tate rant. I want to go back to Spike Lee, the dumbest black man of the year. I think he's probably top 10. There's a few of them on that list that just my mind literally cramps up thinking about how stupid these people are. Listen to what Spike Lee said. See, the reason I say this, y'all, because black people have as a community, as a people, black people have a lot of potential in America, and the problem with the position of black people today is that we haven't stepped in a position to maximize the sacrifice of our ancestors, the position that we've been put in to succeed. One of the reasons is because when some black men get to a point of influence and excellence, they tell you, Negro, you ain't never gonna be nothing. That's what they tell you. Don't forget about all the successes. Go back to slavery, and that's your identity. Your identity is slavery in America, in a distorted view of it. Let me let you listen to what this fool said about his ancestors being stolen. We weren't stolen from Africa. The Africans sold us to the white man, and they sold us all over the world. Ain't nobody was stolen. And they talk about stolen land. What are you saying? If the land is so bad and stolen, go back to Africa. But you don't really believe that, do you, Spike Lee? Roll the clip. Clip 7.
I don't think he's educated about enslavement of my ancestors. Even if they did have some skills, they were still enslaved. It's not like they opened up a business. It's not like they could profit from it. And another thing I'd like to say, I want to thank my wife, Tanya, because I kept using the term slaves.
Which they actually use
in
their curriculum.
You got to say enslaved.
Enslaved, yes.
It's a big, big difference.
It makes a difference because it's
not... It makes a difference.
To identify somebody as a slave.
Words are important.
This is a person who was enslaved.
And when you told me to come on your show, I had to pull my hat in because 1619, that's when enslaved African people were brought to this country, were stolen from Mother Africa to work the stolen land from the Native Americans. For me, I always go back, for me, that's one of the foundations of the United States of America. The stealing of enslaved people to work the stolen land from the Native Americans and work from sun up to sundown and not be treated as human beings.
The stupidest man. He didn't make it to number 1. Listen, what about the white people that didn't own slaves? Did they not get out there and work? What were they doing? This man is a grown man. One of the most incredible film producers, and he's stupid enough to think that everybody had a slave and black people were the only ones working in the South. What about the North? There was no slaves. Hold the phone. I'll be back after the break.
Were there beneficial aspects to slavery?
That's not what the curriculum says.
What do you think?
No, it's not. And the curriculum is very clear. You have, I think it's like 200 plus pages of all kinds of stuff that you can't read that. Have you read it?
So what's your opinion?
Have you read it?
I'm asking your opinion.
But you haven't read it, so I'm just making that clear. That makes it very clear about the injustices of slavery in vivid detail. So anyone that actually read that and then listens to Kamala would know that she's lying. And that particular provision about the skills, that was in spite of slavery, not because of. The AP course has made that same point. Other courses have made that same point. Nobody said anything about that. And Dr. Allen and those people will say, look, this is what was used post-bellum when these folks were doing stuff. So that was very, very clear, and I would just say, people can read it, but they did a very good job on it, and there can be no confusion about where they would come down on that.
Ladies and gentlemen, ladies, welcome back to the Officer Tatum Show. I still want to get all over the top of Spike Lee for his stupid comments. The thing about slavery, it's a scam. Like for somebody to say the white man stole the black man from the continent. Like, bro, how can we ever heal when y'all lying? You're living a lie. And these same people are the ones who have black people today on a mental plantation. This is why I say get off the Democrat plantation. These people have them on a mental plantation. If you look at slavery and you see the white man stole us from the continent of Africa, then forced us to work on stolen land. And in your mind, you think the Africans were living in the wholesome life in perfect harmony, and the devilish evil white man came and stole millions, not 1,500, millions of black people were enslaved. Millions of black people, they just stole millions of people from a 6-month boat ride. They stole millions. It's like, you can't be that stupid, because that either tells one or two stories. Either the black Africans are that inferior that they are too ignorant and primitive to stop white people from stealing millions of their people. It didn't happen that way. That's how we should know it's all bullcrap to start with. And then majority of slaves went to South America. A small remnant of slaves went to North America, where we are currently at. If you know anything about slavery, you had to have some money to purchase slaves. Slaves didn't come over here for free. There was people who brought the slaves over, and then people had to purchase them at an auction where they had to pay money. And if you didn't have no money, you can't purchase slaves. And you know what you have to do? You have to get your ashy butt out there, and you have to work your own land. There is no Amazon. There is no Tesla. There's none of these big major corporations back in slavery. If you wanted to eat, you got to work. And many white people had to work. They did not have slaves. It was only like the highest number I've seen of slave ownership was like 6% of white people in the South that owned slaves. And amongst those slave owners were black people as well. It's a whole lie. It's a made up lie. Like, slavery is bad. Like, enslaving people is bad. But people have been enslaving people since way back in the Bible. And Africans enslaved people too. They slaved their own people that they then turn around and sold. And people like Spike Lee are so stupid that you just beat up the white man in America and you don't blame your own people that enact genocide on each other by the millions. I don't understand, like, what are we even talking about? African people got a lot of issues too. The continent of Africa should be the most vibrant continent in the world. But the people they greedy. Not all of the people. I'm saying the leadership is greedy. They got people living like superstars and their populace is poor. AIDS epidemic, all these other things that happen on the continent of Africa, which the continent has the most resources. I mean, one of the reasons why it's hard, though, even though the resources there, is because there's no real major waterways that go through the continent of Africa in a significant way where you can link Africa to around the world. It's kind of why Europe blew up and some of these other places, because you have access to water. You have access to water channels where you can have commerce and all of the above. That's why West Africa and the Atlantic slave trade was popular because people can go out in boats right up against the Atlantic onto the continent of Africa. And that's where they get the slaves at. And so, regardless of that, these people are destroying black and brown minds because they paint this picture that you don't belong here. They paint this picture that the people who probably have the keys to success for you, they paint them as enemies. The white man is not your enemy. The white man is your ally. Have we not figured that out yet? How did black people how did the Underground Railroad become prolific? Ding, 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 Spike Lee, because of white people. How did black people get free from slavery? Ding, 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 ding. A whole bunch of white people died so black people can be free. Not solely so black people are free. They died and afforded the opportunity for black people to be free. How did black people get citizenship? Ding, 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 ding. White people. How did black people have the right to vote in America? Well, they lost the right and then they regained the right. Because back before black people lost the right to vote or they took the right from black people to vote, it was about property ownership. But let's go ding, ding, ding. How did they recover the right to vote in America? White people. You want to go down the list? Everything that black people have been able to accomplish in America, white people had a part in that. The success of Jay-Z, the success of NBA players, the success of actors, the success of anything that you see in America came at the partnership or the allyship of white people. I don't understand why we feel like we got to be enemies. We are partners in this thing called the American dream. Black people help out white people help out black people, help out Mexican people, help out whatever you want to say, Asian people, Indian people. Go down the list. We all should be working together, help each other out. That's how we became successful. But you got these dinglebats here who they make a fortune on division and victimhood. They make it all the way up to the top. They up there sitting on a high horse and they looking down on the black man, they brothers, and saying, Negro, you ain't never gonna be here. Cause the white man ain't never gonna let you get to a place of success. And you go, Spike Lee, well, how did you make it, brother? In spite of, man, and, I ain't really made it. Like the white man, I'm still a black man in the world. Man, got some of the most incredible movies. I'm still a black man, man. We ain't really got rights still. And they got $100 million. They owe millions of dollars in taxes, Al Sharpton. At some point, I don't know if he paid them yet, but at some point he owed millions of dollars in taxes. Al Sharpton, how did the white man skip over you and your family? Because your kids go to a private school and you're a millionaire. What happened to the oppression? What happened to systemic racism? How did you jump over? Well, explain to me how the white man skipped you then. Jesse Jackson, Barack Obama. I mean, you go down the list of all these black people that are incredibly successful. Well, explain to me how you made it through. And maybe we all can make it through if we somehow being held down. LeBron James, hey, knock, 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 LeBron. Tell us how you made it. If the white man is so bad and you're afraid to leave your house, you've left your house 1,000 times already. And sometimes you leave it in the Bugatti. Or the rich, the most expensive cars ever made. And you got houses all over the country. LeBron, how do you escape getting killed by police officers? Instead of dumb LeBron getting out there saying, I'm afraid to leave my house. I'm going to get killed by the police just from being LeBron James. Instead of saying something stupid like that, why don't you tell your man, hey, look, I don't argue with the police. I mean, I'm going to say this because it's boiling my blood. Smart black men who are manipulative, they know that I ain't fighting with no police officer. But they won't tell their other brothers and sisters that. They won't look back or look into the camera and say, hey, brother, don't do curbside justice. Don't fight these cops, man. If they did wrong, your best shot is in court. Your best shot is filing a formal complaint. It ain't fighting them on the side of the road. They know it. They practice it. They teach it to their children. But yet they get on the podium and they tell the next brother, man, them cops, they all dirty. They all wrong, man. And then when one of them fight the cop and die, they go justice for so-and-so. The cops shouldn't have did that. And in their mind, and the way they teach their family is that I'd never put my hands on no cop and do that. Tell us, Jay-Z, what white man are you working with to get your success? Because you're telling all the other brothers and sisters, giving them the illusion that working with the white man is like working with the devil. But yet you working with the white man. And you a billionaire today. And Beyonce, billionaire. What brand deals are you doing with white people? Jewish people. Go down the list. But yet they'll tell you the white man is the enemy. The white man stole us on stolen land. Shut up. Every land is stolen. Everybody done screwed over somebody to get what they got. Either through screwing them over or conquering them. The entire Roman Empire was just conquer and conquer and conquer and conquer. Hold the phone. I'll be back after the break.